welcome back to Space and Time Alignment, where all folks in this room are in their own time zone to realign space and time itself to bring you the Captain's Quadrant. I am Captain Dove, and with me this week are our beloved guests, Admiral Annie and Last Servant Jason. I figured out you would one up yourself from the bingo championship, and somehow you did.
Well, unreasonable expectations have been placed on me every week now, and I'm sure that I will buckle under the strain just any minute.
Yes, yes. And with me, as always, my co-host, my man at the helm, Science Officer Jason.
Hello, everyone. I got lots of things to say, but the most important thing to say is, look where Last Servant is staying.
Yes.
Look at that background. We've got to give him the floor, don't we?
Yes,
Captain?
absolutely.
Let's give him the floor and let him explain where he is right now.
Yeah.
I've been left alone. Finally, the show is mine. Okay, so I'm in the itty bitty inn in North Bend, Oregon, and this is the Star Trek room. It has screen accurate Star Trek props, and yes, they do work somewhat. We've got phasers, we have tribbles, we have communicators, we have got hand-painted murals on the wall, we've got a space-themed bed, and in true Star Trek fashion, the restroom does not exist. I've been holding it for 3 days. But the room, as I'm told by Rick, who runs this place, has several Easter eggs hidden across it. And thus far, I found a couple, but this is my favorite. So you've got the communications panel right here. Of course, it lights up, just as you would expect it to. But it's just a decoration until you find a button hidden on this panel. You press it.
Red alert, Captain, red alert.
Red alert, red alert, red alert.
Wow.
I've also been told that this is the only red shirt to ever survive an episode, even though he does get killed later on in the episode. But there's so much in here that I don't even know where to start. Like, there's so much I want to show, but I don't want to monopolize the entire show either.
No, but that's
amazing.
fantastic.
So cool. And I love that you can hear that. That space.
Yes,
every
isn't it
now and
great?
then I'll hear it, Oh, wow. Such a treat.
Just waking up. Is this your first night staying there? You've already stayed there a night.
I stayed here last night, and I turned off all the lights. Yeah, I turned off all the lights, and I just had the bridge noise going, and this little nebula light that you see going, and it was so strangely relaxing. There is one thing I did forget to show, though. Anytime that there's trouble, you can go to red alert.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
But yes, the itty bitty inn in North Bend, Oregon, I highly recommend coming to visit this place. It's outstanding.
And tell us about the special guest that stayed in the room before you.
Oh yes. Inside the drawer, one of the Easter eggs is a captain's log that can be signed by people who have stayed here. And one of the people who stayed here was the lovely and talented Marina Sirtis, Counselor
amazing.
Deanna Troy.
So awesome.
So I'm sleeping in Counselor Troy's bed.
Nice. Yeah. You've made it.
I have so many questions I could ask about that, but I'm saying nothing.
Yeah.
That would probably be best. You also got these things.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, nice.
Yeah.
You may have noticed by now that our mannerisms are different.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Well, you got
and now
you got the
it
whole
looks like I have friends.
That's so cool. Yeah, like I'd be going to get a truck or something, and I could say this come in another country and steal absolutely everything you can.
Damn it, Jim! This is a podcast, not a true crime.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think,
Thank
Captain, we should move on to first contact, shouldn't
Let
we?
us move on to first contact.
That
Oh, that's the wrong one. I have a new one. So, sorry, bad tech. I'm just so thrown on.
I'm sorry, Captain. I pulled out the wrong one.
Here we go. These are the new bumpers this week, guys.
Wow.
See if you can pick the running theme in this week's
Yeah.
I'm disappointed in the lack of a farting sound.
You said it, shoot it, and then brr,
Yeah.
Well, that was a great way to kick it off because this was a heavy episode. It did not start out as such, but as we predicted, Last Servant Jason and I, that this was going to be something heavy, as the title was "Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach," and boy, did that deliver on its moniker. I have to say, this surprised me. I didn't expect the ending. I'm not going to get into it right away in the beginning, but it was a lot of fun to see the classic grappling hooks being launched from the alien ship to the getaway car. I thought that was a nice little nod to Enterprise, and I really enjoyed the spending time outside into space, so to speak, with the Enterprise and another ship, because that's something that we didn't get too much of in the last episode because it was more focused on the inner workings of Spock. But to always see the Enterprise in action is fantastic. Admiral Annie, what did you think overall of the episode?
Ooh, I know that we have our little group chat that we get to. And I know I said originally, I don't know if I can talk about this one because it genuinely, I think because the ending was so unexpected, at least for me, it really disturbed me in a way that I feel like not a lot of Star Trek episodes have. There are just several moments that they just really got to me emotionally, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to kind of like keep it together to talk about it. So I feel like as time went on, I did a rewatch this afternoon before the show, and I was a little less disturbed, but gee, what an intense episode. And this is definitely one of the darker episodes of Star Trek, kind of generally, but certainly for Strange New Worlds. We've been kind of skipping through the meadows, as it was with Strange New Worlds, and you know, we hit a rock or hit a tree with this one. So
yeah. Last Servant Jason, your thoughts?
I actually, just a few minutes before we started this, recorded my thoughts on TikTok, and I had to do 2 different videos because I felt so strongly about the events in this particular story. And I'm going to say now what I said then without hyperbole and with complete conviction. This is the best episode of Star Trek since the days of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, wow. That is a bold
Absolutely. This is an episode that was thought-provoking. It was deep. It was very daring. And it was an episode that pointed at our society at the end and said, "This is you." And I thought that was, it almost disgusted me. Like, oh, really? Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I think this is the best Star Trek in over 20 years, if not more.
Wow. Of course, Science Officer Jason, please.
Yeah, you know, the for me, the good tell of like an amazing film or a bit of media that you watch, it just stays with you afterwards. And that's what I'd say about this episode. It really did hit me where I wouldn't expect it was going to hit me. And it stayed with me the following day. I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about the way the writers wrote a piece of entertainment that was so, like Jason said, thought-provoking, so challenging to your own morals and even the main tenets of Star Trek itself. You know, I mean, I think I put in the group chat, you know, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Not really in this case. They're not thinking like that, are they? It's like,
Mm-mm.
they're just thinking. I mean, society that is completely, really at its core is driven by selfishness. And it is a
Yeah.
mirror up to us. It is saying, like, we are very similar in some of the way we approach things, It's, to me, what's haunted me the most, though, is the look on that poor kid's face and the camera's like over the top, and he kind of looks up, and just that sheer terror as those wires are coming in, and then just the snap. And I thought to myself, that and the scene where he sees the other dead kid.
Yeah.
Walk,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, just nuts. But a lot of this episode, really, at the end of the day, I mean, I didn't see it coming. It seemed like it reminded me of some next gen episodes about, small kids being leaders. We've seen that before. So I thought it was kind of going along a certain path. But what I loved too was the interaction between Mbenga and
His daughter.
and his father. Yes, and that whole kind of thing, which we'll kind of get into. But I'm kind of struck.
Yeah. Let us go into the episode summary.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Lloyd at his best.
So good.
His most powerful performance.
Yeah.
Last Servant is like, whoa, wait a minute.
What is wrong with you?
We're killing kids all day long in
there's
this
a
one.
list.
The episode summary: a threat to an idyllic planet reunites Captain Pike with the lost love of his life to protect her and a scientific holy child from a conspiracy. Pike offers to help and is forced to face unresolved feelings of his past. Let me tell you, I don't know if you still got that hub piece, but that happened this week. Captain Pike, he really went in, and when I say went in, he Johnny Bravo.
I didn't think I'd be using that clip this week.
I know.
Didn't.
But Captain Pike said, "Hey," he brought us back to the Kirk era. And
I'm deleting
right.
that clip.
He sure did.
I'm getting rid of that clip because I'm going to be too tempted.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let us jump into immediately pros and cons.
Pros and cons.
The needs of the many outweigh
the needs of the few.
Oh, the one.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're pulling out all the strings this week.
All the heartstrings.
I gotta say, the pro of this episode, the biggest pro by far, is the unsuspecting end resolution of this episode. I thought it was handled so brilliantly, and that as Last Servant Jason had mentioned us, that inward reflection pointing that they did this week, showing us how barbaric we can be and off of our rocker, so to speak. I got to say that the acting of the two children, the Last Servant and Mbenga's daughter, was stellar.
So good.
They were so good together, and it threw me for a loop because yes, we got Mbenga right off the bat, and I thought for sure, okay, Last Servant Jason and I were right. It's going to be all about Mbenga. They're going to get her out of here. And then they were, the Last Servant's father was showing about the implants that they had in the kid to help him with some genetic defects. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect because Mbenga can do some engineering feats that is not capable for another 100 years. For sure, he can figure out these implants and cure his daughter. We're good. We're going to get his daughter out. And then, did we not go in that way?
How classy was he, by the way, in the way he was approaching it? Because as a father, I think I'd be a bit more desperate about asking questions about the cure. It was the way Mbenga was going, like, if I had this scenario, what could you do? Could you, like, I'd be grabbing that dude and going, better give me the cure.
Hypothetically,
yeah.
So I have this friend, right? And he's got this illness that's really specific to this. Anywhere you could help me out. The other thing I got to say, a huge pro that I don't know many people caught, but the designs for the aliens' clothing and the whole tier of the servants and the guards and Pike's lost love and the boy, I thought was just stellar. It really felt like I was in a strange new world, so to speak. and it really was a highlight for me, believe it or not. I pay attention to those things, and I feel like the details that they put into that whole species and every thread on the clothing were just stellar. And my only con this week, if I had to nitpick and bring forth a con, would have to be the hair, the Pike Peak is getting out of control. We're getting higher and higher. Yeah, look at that. It was super
so
high.
good.
Super high this week.
That is not a con. I was just, every time that showed up, I'm just watching it like this.
Let's look at it again.
I
Magnificent hair. Come on.
was like, is it hot?
Gosh, that's just gorgeous.
So if you're Conan O'Brien, you'd be ringing your lawyer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's definitely Conan O'Brien's here, but salt and pepper. Let us go, Admiral Annie, please, your pros and cons.
Pros, I feel like this was just masterful science fiction, just excellent writing. I feel like it's the hallmark of a good writer and a great cast when you walk away and you can't stop thinking about that episode. And that, I definitely felt that this week. It did. I know I posted this article in the group chat, but the episode was kind of based off of a science fiction story from the 70s, kind of similar premise. A child is responsible for the continuation of a society and its success and the comforts of its citizens and constituents. I think that I don't know if it's a con necessarily, but I do feel like we are so used to seeing bad things happen to the crew that I think that's another reason why the ending, what happens to the first servant, was so jarring. We're not used to seeing like awful things happen to children. We're not used to seeing awful things happen to the aliens, right? The Enterprise crew always steps up and in the last second they save them, and I thought for sure Pike was going to just, almost Deus ex machina, right? That writing mechanism where they just swoop in and he saves the day, but then that didn't happen. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think that was a pro. It was very unexpected. I don't think there really were any cons to this episode. Honestly, I don't really have anything negative to say about it other than just I guess maybe at risk of sounding like a millennial or like a very sensitive person. I do wish there was some way that they could warn us that there would be like violence toward a child, I guess, or
it wasn't really violence or so much as an ascension.
Yeah, I don't know.
It leaves up to your interpretation.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't know what's happening in his mind. I just like Science Officer Jason said, that moment where you see just the fear in his eyes, that really disturbed me. And so, some kind of indication that was happening or whatever. But at the same time,
it would have taken the shock away.
It would have taken it away. So,
yeah. I don't think it would have lingered as long as you got a warning.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, because that lingered for me. I don't even have kids, and it was like, ooh.
Same. Yeah.
I'm thinking about my puppy. I'm like, my puppy.
Oh.
Science Officer Jason.
Yeah, look, certainly there's so many pros, I mean, really, it's just, I think we all agree this is one of the greatest episodes of Star Trek in a good couple of decades, just because it hits all the classic markers of not only great Star Trek, but great science fiction. Yeah, I mean, look, I think also why it hit, especially with me a lot, is because Jason and Annie, you've just mentioned about the child, sacrifice. But as Jason said, it's a mirror. So we as the human race have known for sacrifices for thousands of years before we got, to a modern civilization. So it's not an unusual thing in the history of our own, species itself. So, but it works because of the excellent writing. The fact that they don't do the reveal until it's absolutely necessary. And you talked about the ex machina like concept that they did that. They did a nice kind of illusion with that though, because we saw Pike giving it his all. You know,
Yeah.
he punched a couple of dudes, and we're getting okay. This is classic Star Trek.
He's gonna save the day.
And what's great, no, he doesn't. He gets knocked out big time. You know,
Yeah, like for sure. I thought that he was gonna save
but I
him.
can't remember this character's name. I'm sure one of you will be able to remind me. But it's her coldness that really got to me.
Yeah.
Too. Right at the end, like when
Pike's love interest,
but it wasn't like forced cold. It was like
Alara,
this is the way it is. This is just the way we do things. Like, are you judging us? Like, how dare you? She's almost offended at Pike's problem with it. You know, so a couple of the B stories, a couple of really great pros, I think. And I'm cheating here because I've got access to images. Love this scene here.
Yes.
And
see, look at the boots. It's like they look like they could be Yeezys, but at the same time, like, they really spent time coming up with it.
They did. But I love the interplay. I love how Spock, you can see the joy in his face when he hears this little kid talk about how much he knows around science. You know, from a Vulcan perspective, he's delighted to see someone who can almost match his intellect.
Yeah,
I really love that as well.
I did like how they kind of subvert the expectation that, you know, characters like Spock and Data have to be awkward with children. I like the fact that Spock is good with kids. I appreciate that. Yeah.
He's always impressed with intellect, and I love that.
Thus, let's bring our last servant, Jason, to his pros and cons.
Oh goodness, I'm just gonna do my con first. Where's Hemmer?
No, good.
I want Hemmer. It's 2 episodes now, and he hasn't been here. I'm worried about Hemmer.
Where are you, buddy?
They gave us a taste of Hemmer, and then they took him away, and I don't. It's so frustrating. The rest of the episode is all pros. I mean, it's just incredible, and I want to just build on something that Jason said about how. And I forgot her name, Alara. Thank you. About how Alara was cold whenever Pike was questioning her about how could you let a child suffer for your civilization. Well, have you ever heard anybody respond to a fact that, you know, most iPhones are made by slave labor? What do they say? Well, it's just how it is. I can't do anything about it. It's just how it is. You know, and I'm equally guilty. I'm talking on one right now, but it's just the way it is.
Hold on. My iPhone is made by a little kid?
Well, not necessarily a kid, but by you know, de facto slave labor. Yeah.
Oh, that's awful.
It's like I said, it's the theme. It's pointing right at us, saying, yeah, our society may be good, but it's also built on the suffering of others.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, it was a very, very sobering concept, and I think it took a lot of bravery to really take on the whole of society, because they're not just talking about American society; they're talking about every society on Earth. You know, just about everybody who's watching this episode is guilty of being Alara. I mean, that's what I think is just amazing about this episode. I looked up the kid's name earlier, and I've completely forgot about it. But the kid who played the first servant, I think he did a fantastic job of making himself intelligent, and yet at the same time not annoying, not like, oh boy, I can't wait until they inject lasers into his face and shut him up. He was genuinely a character that I cared about from the very beginning, and I think that just did nothing but make the ending even more impactful.
Yes.
It was great for Mbenga to remember he's got a daughter stuck in the transporter. I thought that was very nice of him. Those scenes were good, and I spoke a little bit about characters not behaving in quite the way that you would expect them to in the cliched manner. I thought that the scene where the first servant took Mbenga's daughter out of the transporter to kind of entertain her, I was expecting a big blow up there, but he comes in and he's I want to say he's not mad, he's just disappointed. Like, hey, this was very nice of you, but this doesn't need to happen, okay? Don't tell anybody she's here. But yeah, I mean,
I feel like it was concern.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
for the health of his daughter, like her energy levels, or that he would be like overtaxing her with his play.
yes.
But
But
I
I
think he
like,
was happy to see that she was having fun.
yeah, and I like how this show is kind of detouring around what lesser writers would use to make fake drama.
Yeah.
And they're just focusing on what's important, because I think that if Mbinga had blown up there, or it just would have been a distraction from the story. And
And I also,
yeah.
yeah, I also think with Mbenga as well, we kind of made an assumption about him as audience members because most of us rubbed up against the concept of him keeping his daughter in there.
Yeah.
So them writing that he becomes slightly villainous or he's reacting negatively would have just played into our initial gut instincts because we were upset about that. And that's just smart writing that they didn't do that.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
And did it repeat? Open question. Did anyone else think that when the young, brilliant boy got her out of there, that he would kind of figure out a way to cure her?
I
Because
wanted it to be
Yeah,
that
and I'm
way.
glad they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
So glad they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have one additional observation though, and that is, of course, the fact that the boy's biological father gives Mbenga the roadmap to a cure at the end.
Yeah.
That also comes from the suffering of a child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because where did they get the information from?
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's
Boy.
this is not just an episode that just is like a one and done. This has implications. It's going to haunt them for a while, and I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Let us move on to 10 forward.
Bring on bastard.
Because
Okay.
they are.
You know, anytime somebody talks about Shatner being a bad actor, I point to that scene and say, "You watch that and tell me that's a bad actor." That's Shatner at
No,
his
that's-
best, right there.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
absolutely just angst. Like it's just you can feel it through the core of his body. He almost cutting the words out. It's such a powerful scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those that say only the even episodes, even films of the Star Trek world
Oh,
are good. They
No,
never
3 was
really watched
spectacular.
Star Trek
they're not
3. That
all
was so
perfect.
good.
But,
Yeah.
you know, there are things that I could pick out of what people say are their favorites. I could pick out elements that I didn't like, you know. Yeah. Same as Star Wars fans, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, we hate the prequels. We now love the prequels.
Yeah. Hate the new stuff. And 10 years from
Yeah.
now, we love the new stuff. Hate the new
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, we hate the new stuff.
Yeah. Admiral Annie, please. This is our open forum for all things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
about
all
this
things Star
episode.
Trek.
Yes, go for it.
I don't know. I have so many thoughts about this episode. It was so thought-provoking. And I think initially my thoughts, like I said, I found them very disturbing because of just the implications of the episode and the intensity of the end of it. But I loved like the little lighthearted moments that they found, like Mbenga's daughter playing like hopscotch with the noble gases. I thought that was so cute. And then I feel like there was a lot of whimsy around First Servant. He's obviously extremely gifted. He's been given like every opportunity to succeed and learn. But I guess that's another reason why his death felt so tragic. Like you see so much hope in this child and like so much of a future. And then it just kind of, it ended so quickly. But I would hope that, I don't fully understand. I think they kind of left it vague on purpose, perhaps. But the way that they were going into the mind, I wonder if those collective consciousnesses of the children are somehow kept so that the people could, almost like Katra, where like the Vulcans keep the Katras in like a certain area or whatever, where you could potentially interact with them. I feel like, I don't know, he was just like a little glowing presence. And I think that's why I felt so sad when he died or, was accessed when he ascended. But yeah, going back to costuming, how beautiful was Alara's headpiece that she's wearing in that ascension scene? I just thought that was breathtaking. Like all of their beautiful costumes, all of the dresses, like deep red. I don't know if that color had specific significance on Majalis, but I just thought that was so beautiful, and really enjoyed the costuming this week.
Absolutely, and it threw me on such a panel because welcome back, science officer. Because the
galactic interference.
Yeah. The thing that got me the most was I did not expect, especially when they had the big party, when he came back to the planet and he was rescued, so to speak, from the zealots. I thought for sure that his phase into the planet itself was to be their leader, and he was going to be built up as to replace Pike's love interest, Ilara.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought it was going at. I thought he was going to be like the king type of setup, when he was going to be,
Right.
like young King Tut. Young King
Yeah.
Tut had all the information. He was a young leader, but he led with a firm grip and a vast reach. So for them to throw this skewer as, no, it's our human sacrifice because the planet needs
Right.
it to survive, and that everybody else lives, was just like, oh, wow, that's dark. Who wrote this?
Right.
And this is where Akita Goldsmith is pulling his award-winning writing out,
Oh yeah.
because it hit
Also,
every
the
nail.
writer of Batman and Robin.
Right. We're not talking about Batman and Robin. He didn't do the Batman and Robin. All right, everybody, chill.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! Was I the only one sitting in the theater going, no, it didn't?
Yeah, right. It was a comment.
Thought you were a doctor.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention to the planet. So the article that you sent us, Annie, mentioned the science fiction story from 1973, The Ones Who Walk Away from Omalis, and that was written by Ursula K. Le Guin, and Le Guin, and it was really a riveting writing story. So if they pulled from that, I can see why this is so stellar. I'm gonna go with Last Servant Jason before the Tribbles take over his nice little stay there. So we've got 2 already now. So I guess we should.
Where did this come from?
So I
bad.
I think you should get your point out now for your 10 forward.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I noticed I very rarely watch episodes twice because I just don't have that kind of time. But I was on vacation, and I thought, you know what? The first time I watched this, for some reason, the stream wasn't working very well. So it would play for 5 minutes, and then it would freeze. And then it would play for 5 minutes and then freeze. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch this from beginning to end just to, make sure I didn't miss anything. And I noticed this time watching it, knowing what I knew, how recontextualized the entire episode was. And it was almost like watching a completely different story this time, because, knowing that the father is trying to save the kid, and knowing that the colonists off on that offshoot colony were trying to save the kid, and knowing that Allura, thank you, knowing that Allura was always intending for him to go into this machine, was just it just changes the entire episode. And I think that's another strength of Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach, is that it's like watching one episode, but watching it twice is like 2 different episodes, seeing it from a completely different point of view. And I think that that's a hallmark of extremely strong writing. I'm also going to say how much I'm loving Uhura.
Yeah.
She knows that she's good, but it's not irritating. It's just basically like, here's what you asked for. And yeah, I killed it. Yes, I know. And then that's it. And so you did the bare minimum? No, I also did this, and this.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah.
If they're going to bring back the F word for Star Trek, I think Uhura needs to say it to somebody.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's been 7-8 years. I think that somebody's owed an F word.
Yeah. Yeah. Certain people deserve it too. So.
Yes.
Yeah. Science officer.
Yeah, look, You know, I was just thinking as Jason was talking there, you know, the other thing that makes it really heartbreaking, that episode, is the fact they had the kid, they found him, and they handed it to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, when you think about that, they find him, he's in that little capsule, and they literally hand him back, which is great. So the other big thing is really about the show as general. I mean, this show is written like it's a season 4 of a really good show, if you know what I mean. Like the writers know what they're doing, everyone's hitting their strides. It seems almost effortless. It's such a testament to that. I think there must have been years of planning before they actually.
Yeah.
Is it years of
Because
planning
it just feels like, I don't know. I mean, this is so different than anything else I'm seeing on television at the moment in regards to, like, the scripts are so well written and so tight. There must be 7-8 drafts of each script going through before they're locking these down. It's too well written.
Or do you think that the things they learned from the pros and cons, so to speak, of Discovery and Picard have come into play here?
Yeah, I mean, they should be. I mean, let's be honest. They really need to be learning from those shows.
I think they did. I think that's why this is so good. Now,
this is 6 home runs in a row.
Yeah.
Like, where's the week episode at this point?
I keep expecting a clunker every week, and every week it just seems like it gets better. Yeah.
Imagine that's the cliffhangers, the clunker.
Right.
Oh God, no.
Can you imagine? Because
I think the writers kidnapped a kid and plugged it into a machine, and that's how they're making all of the episodes. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
That's why Wesley's not in season 3 of Picard.
Oh, they sacrificed him. There we go.
Yeah.
Shut up, Will.
You know, that, by the way, that scene, I know this is 10 forward, so we can talk anything Star Trek. Yep. I really cringed through that scene with him with the Traveler. Hey, I watched it again recently, and I thought, Will, you were such a talented young man, but you're really forcing that speech. I'm sorry, Will Wheaton. I love you, but that was a cringy scene.
I got the feeling that they kind of shoved that in at the last minute. After all of the negative feedback about Will not being in the 3rd season of Picard, I think that they shoved that in there just to negate it. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's a talented actor. It's not like
I love Will Wheaton. I
just feel like it was not rehearsed. Yeah, I think you're right, Jason. See, he's been handed a bit of paper 5 minutes before and go, all right, stand on that mark, say this, go.
Yeah, we went to this park where it's open air, so you don't have to worry about COVID protocol. So just yeah. I could totally see that.
But see, that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, you have a show like this, and then everything else you become almost a little bit critical about because the bar is so much higher than the other content that they're currently producing. And I love Lower Decks. I love Flight Prodigy. Not a massive. I like elements of Discovery, and I liked Picard, but yeah, they look like pieces of shit compared to this.
Right.
Yeah. Before we get into our future speculations, I just want to tap on something that you had mentioned regarding Wesley Crusher, and the fact that they released a tidbit of some news this week, and that news, get ready. Is that they wrapped up filming Picard season 3. The original cast members from The Next Generation are all headed home.
Yay, they all survived through it.
They all survived, yes. and the writers and everyone has said that this is basically going to be the proper send-off that Nemesis failed to give the Next Generation cast.
I'd be very careful saying things like that, honestly.
Yeah.
Right, now they set the bar so high.
Yeah. But, and then also in that same vein, we have heard, I watched the long hour, just like our last episode of Ready Room, and Alex Kurtzman said, the main showrunner, the producer behind it all, that there is a plan to interweave some of the shows. So that is going to be interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
It could be good.
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous, I mean, Marvel and Star Wars and all that, everything's got to be connected and
well, I mean,
hasn't it always been that way anyway?
Yeah, it's always connected.
True, but even the great Star Trek shows in the 90s and 80s, when they did do crossovers, it felt very much. And look who's walked in through the door.
Yeah.
So I must say, the first time they did it, still one of the best scenes in Star Trek is when Picard and Cisco meet.
Yep.
And Cisco just the utter disgust he has for Picard in that
Yeah.
scene. Magic.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
fantastic. Let us
I-
go to.
I
go.
loved every time that the Star Trek cast met each other, even if it was forced. I just
Yeah,
loved it. I'm sorry, Star Trek Cinematic Universe was around decades before the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
True that.
Generations alone. Yep. Or Generations.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Can't argue that.
The day that not even that, the day that Michael Dorn ended up on the set of Star Trek 6,
yes.
right there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. The
Yeah.
ancestor.
That's true.
What is he? Great grandfather or something? I believe, isn't he? He's
I
a
think
relation,
so.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess DeForest did end up on TNG before that happened. So yeah, it would be
Yeah,
whenever
that's
DeForest
true.
showed
Yeah,
up.
because that was a Count on Farpoint he was on, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yes,
Yeah,
so that would have been before that.
Yeah,
It was the first episode.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let us go
Shared
to 10.
Cinematic Universe confirmed.
All right. Let us go to 10 forward.
Burned to death in the fire.
Well, really keeping the theme
Yeah, I kept
here.
it dark,
Wow, you
didn't I?
really.
One of the most powerful scenes, and you're going to talk about powerful scenes. That in Generation.
Yeah.
Where did that come
Yes.
from?
I mean, Patrick Stewart's a fantastic actor through and
So
through.
good.
And he could read the phone book and I'd be entertained, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
that scene in Generations is what really stuck out more than the ship blowing up. Because him describing what happened to his family was just like, oh my God, what?
Gut
Yeah.
wrenching.
Yeah, and have met his brother earlier on in the Next Generation series, knowing that now he's dead, also was just painful.
Yeah, it is.
But
I'm really changing the bumpers next week, big time.
yeah, these are
mate.
dark.
We're gonna go back to happy.
Yeah,
bumpers.
well, next week's got to be a happy episode.
I
That's
really
my
should have had a coffee
prediction.
this morning
Yeah.
before I
That
made them.
next week will be a brighter, happier episode.
Oh yeah.
It's called Blind Date, I believe, right?
Blind date?
Blind Date is, I think, the episode title.
Oh really? I can actually confirm that. Can I confirm that? I should have the window open. And I don't
Do
think I
you
have the
doubt
window
me?
open.
He
Yeah.
is the
I don't know. What is the because I usually have it up. What is the episode called for next week? If it's Blind Date, I'm like awesome. We're getting Kim Basinger back and Bruce Willis.
or maybe it's
Oh, that was a
Nurse,
deep cut.
yeah, right.
And John Larroquette, if you remember too. John
Wow,
Larroquette.
yeah, John, what's he doing these
Yeah.
Oh, Maltz from Star Trek 3 Cinematic Universe confirmed.
Oh, look at that.
You got it. You got it. Have I found all this to find a title just to prove that he's right? No,
Nice.
in fact, it is called The Serene Squall. Again,
Ooh.
The Serene Squall.
I think he's pulling out his other phone.
That's according to Wikipedia. I could
Agree to disagree.
Okay, let's have a look. I'm going to
Would
share
that
my screen
information
here. We're
be
gonna have
on
a
like
battle.
IMDb maybe?
I don't trust IMDb ever.
You don't?
No. Yeah, I've got it as the Serene Squall. So, but there you
Well,
go. It doesn't matter.
Wonder where I
Either
got
way.
Blind Date from.
I don't know, but I like
Hopefully,
it.
Spock
I'd be
is-
down for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, you kind of mentioned it's been Star Trek is not afraid of the sexy, are they? Like they've a couple of
Nope.
times now. Like again, like Pike got some this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spock
It
last.
turned
Spock
out to be
the
the
week
crazy
before,
X, but
Yeah.
he made that
Literally.
mistake. He
Yeah,
went back
you
to the
never go
crazy
back to the
X.
crazy X. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So aside from the fact that you mentioned that this is going to be a happier episode, Admiral Annie, what are your future speculations?
I speculate that we are going to see Mbenga begin to experiment with a cure for his daughter. I think that will be something that's present, maybe not this next episode, but like the one after, if not the next one. But we've seen this as kind of like a running theme now, that is one of the core issues that they're dealing with this season. And I would like to see him make progress on that. I think that would be really cool.
Okay. Last Servant, Jason?
Oh, goodness. Well, I don't know anything about the next episode. All I can say is I want Himmer.
Mhm.
I want Hemmer to. I want Hemmer for more than just 5 minutes in an episode. I want to see an entire episode about Hemmer. I want to know everything about Hemmer, and I want the episode to be nothing but Hemmer. I want the episode to be titled Hemmer, Star Trek Hemmer.
Star Trek.
The episode's called Hemmer. And if anybody else shows up in the episode, Hemmer just kind of puts his hand on their face and shoves them back out of screen, saying, "No, my turn.
Time.
My turn."
Yeah. This is my episode.
Yeah.
You know it's coming though. You know there's going
They
to
have
be
to. They have
And
to.
a big
and
episode.
even though
Yeah.
she's been in every episode, I want to see more personal stuff about Ortiz, because Ortiz is
Yeah.
just such a fun
Yeah.
character. But
Is it
and
Ortiz or
she's-
Ortegas?
Ortegas. I'm sorry, Ortegas. Yes,
Yeah, look, there
Um,
she is. There she
yep,
is.
there.
There she is,
And Randy,
yeah.
yeah.
Which I
She
love
scares me, to
Ortegas.
be honest with you. I wouldn't want to get on Ortegas.
Who, Annie or Ortegas?
Mhm.
Both.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't want to get on either on the bad side.
No, not at all.
she's been in every episode, but she's been more like the way Uhura was in the old series, where all she ever did
Yeah.
was turn around and go, "Yes, Captain," and then she turns around and goes back and occasionally has a smart remark. I want to see more about her. I want to see Hemmer actually show up for an episode. That's what I want. It's not about predictions, but there you go.
So I've got to ask my American friends, but you guys are on the West Coast, so I'm assuming this doesn't happen to you. But do you know what a squall is?
It's a big storm.
Yeah, it's a very
That's-
fast-moving storm.
Oh.
Yeah.
We get them as snow. We get snow squalls. That's what we're called
Mhm.
here in Jersey.
I thought that's what people in Maine called squirrels.
Look at that squall! Look at that squall! My squall ran across the parlor. I'm from Rhode Island by birth, so like 20 minutes from Boston. Yeah, so I'm assuming this has something to do with a burst of something, and it's gonna rock our world, and it's gonna be pretty dope because they've not let us down so far, and I don't think
That's
next
right.
week is gonna be. Especially we're rounding up the episodes towards the end since it's only 10. So
No.
being that it's 7, there would be only 3. Therefore, they've got to really knock them out of the park. So it's going to be very interesting. Science officer Jason, tell us what is your
Yeah, it's really hard to do these future speculations. I'm thinking right now we need to dump this segment because if anything, this week's show showed us that we really know nothing about the direction they're going,
But
and that
with
makes
Jason
it
and
so
I,
amazing.
Lester and Jason and I were close, man. We were close this week, right?
Yeah,
We were close.
Yeah, we were
Close-ish.
No, this way. No, this way.
yeah. Look, I have no idea. The serene squall sounds like they're conflicting words, aren't they? Serene
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
peaceful and squall being. So if you read
Chaotic,
into that, there's somebody's going to go through something where they've got an internal conflict or an external conflict. Either way, I just think I just can't wait for the next episode because I have really no idea. Yes, like Jason, I want to see Hammer. I want to see that. I want to see more on these second tier characters. And I'm like, oh god, that's awful when I say that out loud. But you know what I mean, not the main
Yeah.
players. I want to see more of kind of digging into their
I don't want to see
backgrounds
these
and issues.
Yeah, I don't want to see these second tier characters end up like Discovery second tier characters who are just basically just set dressing.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, the other future speculation is they'll continue to keep the integrity of the Enterprise. And this is what really bothers me about Discovery. Every time they're hit in Discovery, fire shoots out of a panel on the bridge.
and rocks. It's a standard. to have
Like,
rocks.
it drives me insane. At least they will continue with Strange New Worlds for them to do the classic rock.
Yeah.
When they get hit by something, they've got a rock in their chair, and I'm happy with that. The occasional stuntman flying over and
Right,
flying
right,
over
flying
the
over the
rails
rail.
or something. People like that.
Or if we get Klingons, they can use the same Star Trek Deep Space Nine fire Klingon as they used for continuous loops all the way up until Voyager.
Yeah.
The only thing I really hope to see is some more of the ships in the Federation. We've only seen really the Enterprise. What else is out here? Is there a Reliant at this point yet? Do we have some Vulcan ships out there? Let's go into the universe.
I don't know if you'll get that this season. I think that's the season 2, season 3 expansion of the universe. I really think season 1 is all about the Enterprise and all about the characters that are in there. And that I'd be shocked if they start going super expansive at this point.
But if they're going to join universes, they're going to have to start building that somehow.
Oh yeah, it's
That's
absolutely a
true. Gotta build a
necessity
bridge.
moving forward along the series. But
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, that wraps up this quandary of the Captain's Quadrant. We had such a great time. I appreciate you both. As always, Last Servant Jason and Admiral Annie, you bring such wonders and delights to the Captain's Quadrant. I am grateful for you both. Science Officer Jason as my number one here in the Captain's Quadrant. It is always wonderful to have these moments with you. This is my best thing that I got going for me every Saturday night. I look forward to this. You guys have no idea. And we have some special guests that we're hoping to have in the future. And once we do, we will let you know.
Yeah.
So as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And thank you for downloading this episode of Captain's Quadrant. Be sure to check out us on our socials. You can follow us on Twitter at Spectrum_Sanctorum, same as Instagram. You can also follow me at tobeseen.com on Twitter, or you can find us on Instagram at It's To Be Seen. And I appreciate you so much. Last Servant Jason, I will have you plug your socials because you have that wondrous to watch on TikTok. So go ahead.
Yes.
And then we sign off.
TikTok at Jason Roy Gaston. That's where you can find pretty much everything.
Must watch, guys.
Yeah.
If you're watching the
Must
show,
watch.
you have to follow his TikTok. It is one of the highlights.
Yeah, I am on
yeah.
TikTok. I'm at Vulcan Diver, but I haven't really started anything yet. So maybe in the future.
Yeah. And I'm one of those creeps who's not really posting anything at the moment. He's too busy, so I'm just watching people.
Nice.
Creepily watching people. All right, let's go.
All right.